Governor Rauner has toured Illinois, saying he wants to make it the most compassionate and competitive state. But according to the governor, in order to make Illinois competitive, it will require reform that could impact you. Governor Rauner says there's one issue Illinois businesses complain about the most.
Workers' compensation, meaning the cost to provide the insurance for workers who get injured on the job. Basically one of the highest in America, way higher than the national average, and uncompetitive. Caterpillar told me that workers' comp costs more than 5 times as much here as in Indiana, and in other states, Illinois is dramatically higher, and they've been growing their jobs out of Illinois for a long time. And those are good paying jobs that should be in Illinois.
In Illinois, workers' compensation costs employers about $2.35 for every $100 an employee makes. The costs are above the national average and higher than our neighboring states.
Workers' compensation is sort of at the heart of the cost of doing business when it comes to high wage paying jobs with good benefits. And so if we're going to be able to attract and retain those kinds of businesses, we need to make sure that our workers' comp costs are competitive and that we don't lose out to those jobs that might otherwise end up in Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, Missouri.
Business leaders want to reform the system to bring rates down. Ideas include implementing causation, requiring the injury to have happened on the job or be more than 50% work-related, as well as defining a traveling employee so workers can't make claims for injuries that happen on personal time during a workday.
Going back to 2004, 10 years ago, Illinois was in the middle of the pack when it came to workers' compensation costs and our competitiveness with other states. We went in a very short period of time down to the third most expensive state. We went in 2013 back to the fourth most expensive state, and in 2014 became the seventh highest cost state.
Illinois is doing slightly better thanks to changes made by the General Assembly in 2011, but those on the other side of the issue say it came at the expense of workers. What does reform look like? I mean, does the system need to be reformed as someone who works with it?
Well, I know he's new to this because he's been busy making $62 million a year, but we just had reform on workers' compensation, and by reform all it was taking away rights of these guys, and it was brutal, and they took it. And there was the National Commission that does the rates said the rate should go down 20% as a result of those changes. You'll never guess what happened. Turns out the insurance industry pocketed the difference, and premiums did not go down. The compensation went down, and yet they didn't refund it to their employees. So I think if this governor really cared about it, he would investigate the insurance reaction to the changes that were in place.
Supporters of a strong workers' compensation system say the governor comparing Illinois to other states is misleading because Illinois' coverage is more comprehensive than other states. Is there a reason why Illinois' rates are much higher than our other states around us?
The only reason is when he compares us to Kentucky, people in Illinois make more money than people in Kentucky. You have and that's a good thing. That's the remarkable thing about this. He wants us to compete with Kentucky and Indiana. We should be competing with China and Germany and New York and California. But workman's comp, when you get hurt and you can't work, it replaces your wages for the period of time that you're paralyzed or unable to work. And if you make a little more money, you get a little more money. But do we really want to be Kentucky or Alabama or Mississippi? If that's what he's aspiring to do and lead the people of Illinois to become the next Kentucky, I don't think that really should be our goal.
Lawmakers say they can get behind the idea of making a system work better, but some are worried the cost of making Illinois competitive could impact the middle class.
Well, I think it's an interesting question about what makes Illinois competitive. Is it just business, or is it the welfare of the middle class as well? And I think if you look, the governor points to Indiana a lot, but if you look to a lot of indicators in Indiana about poverty levels, their wage levels and so forth, Illinois is actually doing much better for the middle class than Indiana. So we want to make sure that we're making Illinois competitive not only for business but also for workers.
We asked Governor Rauner's office if we could sit down with him to discuss the specifics he has in mind for workers' compensation reform, but they declined our request for an interview. Instead, they sent a statement saying that the governor thinks that workers' compensation is making Illinois unattractive to new business. Now, all of the lawmakers we spoke with say they're going to wait until those specifics are announced to pick a side on this issue. At the Capitol, Jordan Abdea, News Channel 20.